Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Scyushi and we are back in more Trove. Sorry it took a while for the last Trove video to now, but basically I've just been busy with stuff and also busy with this project because it's a doozy. It's about time we ended up having a club world tour, which means that I'm going to be going into details with a lot of the different builds, talk about this, that, and the other thing. Before we get started with any of that though, I'd appreciate if you would leave a like on the video, helps out a ton. And otherwise, we're going to leave our current hub right here, which I still think is the best ever, and we'll talk about that momentarily. And instead, we're going to take the green portal, and we're gonna go to the first old school hub of the game. Now, you guys might remember this, I still do. Up here, this was kind of one of my super early Trove videos. I started building in this tree. I don't think I ended up building like these houses and stuff. It was just like these platforms or something, or maybe the old school gamer King Andrew did, which I don't know, he's not around anymore. But anyway, down there was a castle that I was building, and I just distinctly remember going up to the tree and constantly looking down on it. And that castle slowly ended up evolving into this pagoda. And I mean, it's a little bit crazy over here. You can see I kind of just built for the sake of building, but yeah, I'm fairly happy with this. It's updated over the years. We had to slowly extend out as the game ended up adding more crafting tables and crap that we didn't need. We've got the old school tower. The Atlas has since replaced this tower. It used to be in the hub. We've got a noob hut that has a bunch of signs that go into detail about various features of the game. There was a trophy hut for little mini games that we hosted. What else? Yeah, lots of little details. You can kind of see which parts are the most updated, but there's all sorts of little signs around and little details here and there. These are club portals to Team Pixel 2 through 5, because once upon a time, we didn't have enough member slots for the amount of people that were coming in, and so I was trying to manage this many different clubs, which was a terrible decision. And then we ended up having the Pinata Assassins, the Unicorn Lore, the Doge Army, the Evil Chickens, the Dragon Kigurumi, so on and so forth. Basically, these were all kind of like my in-lore factions that we kind of ended up developing over the years, but it's since been basically abandoned. And then there's going to end up being, I don't think there's anything else. There's lots of little references and Easter eggs all over the place with little NPCs and junk like that. But if we talk about them, we'll be here all day. Down here is where we had our shadow towers and stuff. And there used to be all this crazy underground junk. I mean, there still kind of is, as you can see, but yeah. Moving on, I started to slowly extend out over here. And this is when I started to experiment with the same type of build, but a lot smaller. And eventually, I always had it as a project of mine to make it more and more expanded out. And then eventually, I remember when I could end up affording a biome, an extra biome for the club, I made this, which doesn't really look as spectacular as I remember it looking. It was kind of just building tons of houses, and it was called Tiny Town because I thought it was, I don't know, kind of funny. And then we had a lot of signs that were dedicated to like players of the time. I don't know. It was a different time. And then fast forward a bit, this was going to end up being the alternate hub. Once I got a better understanding of how the building ended up working and stuff, I kind of overbuilt and made this. But I don't know, it just didn't really turn out. I thought it was just way too busy. So it just didn't really end up working out as a new hub area because that one was just so much nicer. This is the graveyard of like dead players, which has a lot of in-joke references. Candy Barn was just kind of me, again, experimenting and branching out with different types of terrain and biome and stuff. And then over there is Comments Cove, which I used to end up putting like, basically I would choose a YouTube comment and then leave it down in there, but I don't know, that just ended up dying at one point. Here we've got a bunch of different club world portals, a bunch that people just ended up wanting. I slowly went through these over the years and kind of removed all the dead clubs and stuff. But generally speaking, there's probably even more dead clubs in there because let's be real, there's only a handful of clubs that still exist. So let's start moving out in this direction before we start going in a bit of a circle around the hub, because otherwise I'm just gonna get lost. From Tiny Town, we're going over here, and this was kind of a windmill I was trying to see if I could make like a cool field, and it didn't really work out. Bunch of other little extra houses. Somebody ended up making Yabaki up there, And then this was kind of like another weird little underground. I don't know if I ended up building any of this stuff. It was just something that I came to and was like, oh, that's a cool enough build. And then we've got, you know, the giant Gonda up there. Moving a little bit further over here, there's not too much to see in this biome because it was kind of just a throw it down and then other people wanted to build in it. And you can see, you know, there's some varying styles and what have you. But this is also where we had the first ever PvP biomes in the game. I don't even know what that is right there, but yeah, when PvP ended up getting added into the game, we ended up making all these different PvP maps. This was our first big collab one in the club where myself, Sithis, and Joe, I think, did most of the work. I forget who else helped. Might have been Mark. Sorry if I'm not shouting out everyone appropriately. But anyway, coming from the Cursed Vale, going over into the Neonopolis, we've got this kind of neon base that was forming here, never ended up coming into fruition. Some psycho ended up remaking those from the Everdark. And if we end up kind of coming back around, you can see someone was making a Tomb Raiser. This, I think, was Biscuit back in the day. Again, I don't fully remember, but yeah. Kind of just a tiny little biscuit town. Somebody ended up making this and this. I forget if one of them was Zuffer or something. I don't know. Lots of people that ended up initially starting out with building in the club world essentially ended up like joining the Discord or Razor Comms when we were first using that instead of Discord, and ultimately ended up becoming like regular members that have been around with the community for years, even if a lot of them have moved on from Trove. Good Lord, what a mess. Somebody puked over here apparently. I don't know if there was anything else interesting over here. I do remember that I liked where this build was going, but I think the person left. Oh, right. It was because of the chonky Pinata. That's why I really liked it. I guess I should keep my mini map open just so you guys kind of know where I am. So that's that big green castle, which is in the bottom left of the club. And then over here, somebody made welcome to Pinata Park. Basically a Jurassic Park reference. Lots of glass. That would have been so tedious to make a dome like that. But yeah, very, very cool. Very hilarious. Obviously, it got abandoned because that's what kind of happens with the building in this game is people end up getting burnt out and then they end up stopping building. I myself have completely burnt out on my building entourage. I've built so many things that I no longer have a desire to build anything anymore. But yeah, we got a whole bunch of battleships here, little tennis court over there. Trying to remember if there was anything else that was of worth. Oh yeah, Cloud City. I forget if Joe made that. It's all rainbow, so it probably was Joe. This is Architect Town, so this is where a lot of people got their first building comeuppance. And, you know, it kind of ended up evolving from there. I remember always liking that, the Flux House or whatever. This is just gigantic, kind of obnoxious when you think about it, but I still like it. Over here, this is Valor Warrior, or Dank Val, as you've seen with me playing Elden Ring, Path of Exile with him and stuff. Good lifelong friend of mine. Started out making these builds. I thought they were really cool. And yeah, we kind of just hit it off and ended up becoming friends. Again, you know, this is how I've gotten all of my lifelong friends have just been through this video game and through this channel. So anyways, someone was building a rocket here that got abandoned. A couple little other houses right here. Some other junk over there. I know there's more things in the further direction, but we'll get there eventually. I just kind of want to go through the stuff that I think's worthwhile. Some desert stuff here. I think a lot of this was actually my brother built. And then now we're actually kind of going back to the hub area. And there's a lot of verticality stuff that I want to talk about. So this giant mountain here, this is when Merc went crazy with his building. Eventually he ended up getting so burnt out that he left Trove and left the community. It's actually nothing to do with us or anything. Merc was like a really good friend, really cool guy, really lots of funny, like really, really hilarious humor. And he was really, really involved with the community. Really sad that he moved on and we miss him so much. But basically his dad retired and he's just busy doing family stuff. So that's the story of Merc. And, you know, I'm all the power to him. I hope it's all been doing great. We've got this atrocity right here that Joe ended up doing. This was extra do or something. He ended up making a big floating thing. I worked on this. I think this was my biggest build back in the day. Bowser the Sky Whale. Lots of blue, as you can see, but I remember it being kind of fun just because it was a huge project and I wanted to kind of get myself used to, well, making things on a grander scale, and it taught me a lot. And then we've got the old school Game Breaker cannon, which still doesn't really work as far as I know. Yeah, it's very glitchy. Game Breaker cannon back in the day used to just go boo and you'd be launched like super far out. It was a lot of fun back in the day, but they don't work anymore. Over here, we've got the lava biome, which has lava runners. This was a game my brother and I made where you basically try to get to the end with a short amount of time, but I mean, nobody plays that kind of stuff anymore. Really liked the style of this, but again, somebody abandoned it in favor of the giant dragon. Then there's this cursed castle, which I like. Another weird castle, which I like. Someone was working on a giant, but they ended up quitting or getting banned, I forget. Here's another PvP arena. This one Val made and is basically just a big city. And, you know, we ended up kind of collabing on like the color coding and stuff, because that was something that I always thought was really important to these maps, was making it so that it was immediately identifiable which side was red, which side was blue. So the big tip that I would give any map builders is using the soft tone blue block color palette on this side, and then everything on this side is like orange and darker and red. Then there's the giant kitchen map, which I don't really know if I want to end up going in there, but I guess we'll just kind of take a peek over here. I mean, you may have seen this in other, you know, back when we had the wing dragon coin challenge thing. This was a huge project. Again, Bowser the Sky Whale taught me how to put down thousands of wall blocks, and I ended up getting help from a lot of people as well, just because, oh my God, it was a lot. While we're over here by the kitchen, this is another thing that Merc made as far as I recall. And this is basically another PvP arena with two different ships fighting against one another. Over here, I don't even know what that is. Is that my CSGO map? Yeah, I think it is. CS office, whatever. I don't know why this little glass is here. It's kind of bothering me. But yeah, this is very, very uniform. This is when I started to really get the hang of map making. And so it's got like a lot of choke points and stuff, and it's very condensed in, you know, like lots of little corridors. It's just the office from CSGO. And then over here, we've actually got the frost biome, which has a couple different things in it. We've got this little Viking town, which always felt very cold to me. I like it a lot. And then this giant Christmas tree, which is kind of obnoxious. I know that's the word of the day today, but me and a couple other people ended up building this. And once upon a time, we used to use this as our alternate hub during the seasonal holidays. But we always ended up getting a lot of complaints about it. And I don't blame them. Like, it just kind of, it's like really bright and kind of, you know, bad color palette, whatever. Not much you can do about that. It's just kind of how it is. But yeah, moving back over here, there's the old hub again. A nice little town right there and a Christmas tree. Santa is down there. Wait, what? And then we keep going a little bit further, and this is going to end up being an ice town that Merc made, which has a lot of really funny in-jokes and references with all of the little statues and junk. And then there's also a shortcut secret passage. Where is it? I think it's in here. Yeah. So this leads to the secret underground, which is where I store all of my trophies over the years. I every now and then will end up putting my trophies in the composter now, because I'm just so sick of coming here and placing all of these down. You know, tons and tons of hallways, and it's just, you never end up having enough room for all of these stupid things. Now, over here, we've kind of got like old officer trophies from PvP and so on and so forth. And yeah, this place just kind of keeps going. So whatever, we'll just ignore that. What else? Let's go a little bit more to the north there. So back by Snake Town or Frost Town or whatever, someone built a PvP arena over there, which I don't think works. There's another little ice town. And then over here is giant statues. I forget who made these. I just remember that they ended up getting banned or something. Yeah, cool class themed like statues. I know there's like a hidden lava cave somewhere that used to be like the band corner. Oh, and then this is my Hanamura map from Overwatch, which back when Overwatch was really actually a, you know, fantastic game. And I was so inspired that I built this PvP map out of it. And I personally think that this is my, this is the best PvP map I've ever made. I always kept playing it regularly, kept tweaking it. And something that was always really important to me in these maps was adding a lot of verticality that would be easily obtainable for like a Lunar Lancer could just boost up there, while a normal player might have to do some fancy little parkour to get up there. Because I wanted to really push each of the different classes having strengths and weaknesses in the maps. And this one was just so much fun. A lot of times people would end up going through here to get to the flag and use, you know, because it's a CTF, capture the flag map. But as a deathmatch map and even as capture the flag, we worked very, very hard to make it so that there was always a point of interest and always something to find on the outskirts of the map, so that there was always like a reason to go over here, because, you know, people would either not know about this spot or not know about this flag. And what I really found fun about this was there was never a map, there was never a part of the map that was underutilized. Maybe this area, if I'm being perfectly honest. This was pretty not used very much, this building right here. Sometimes people would use it, but it would usually be like to go over here if you had like Lancer or something to that effect. But yeah, this was so much fun to make this map, and I miss the old school PvP. Of course, from this portal hub area, you can take portals to the various areas in this area, like in the club world. There's also gonna be Turkey Island, which this is where I usually end up going and dropping down like frameworks and crap whenever I'm trying to highlight them in a video, in the off chance that they ever end up adding more to the game. So it's kind of just messy, as you can see, not really anything to see here, if I'm being honest. And then a little bit over here, this is going to end up being where I did my gardening when Gardening 2.0 came out. I wanted to make a biome that was kind of aesthetic, as well as covered a large, huge area. So this was like my main area for gardening. I just wanted to make kind of a tranquil garden for chilling. And then otherwise, oh dear Lord, you can see that I garden over here. Not very much though. And then also, once upon a time, whenever I would start a new playthrough on the channel, because Trove was kind of the main thing, I would use this pipe to warp my Trove character into the video game. It was kind of a fun little gimmick that I just can't really justify doing anymore, even though I thought it was really cool at the time. And now we're back at the hub, but we're not done yet with all of that other stuff. So let's go to the big portal area. And I gotta try and find, not CSGO, Mario Kart, yes. This is going to be the huge area where me and Mark went to town making PvP maps. This was when they were going to add races into the game. I made this course. It's not very good because races kind of suck in Trove. Then Merc and me ended up having this huge project that we thought was so fun, where we basically had a bunch of different maps all in one singular biome of maps. So what this basically means is when you would end up playing PvP in this area, you would have multiple options. So you would either get warped into the lava biome, you would end up getting warped into the Donkey Kong area over here, or the old school Mario platformer area, or Duplessis's Castle from Mario RPG, which was Merc's like favorite game or something, or one of my favorites, this miniature kind of like, yeah, it's got like a lot of nice little details in it, this arena, which I just absolutely loved. Let me actually check this one out, just because we got a tiny little entrance in here that you can't jump out of normally, because normally you only have 2 jump. And this was like, I think this is kind of when we hit our peak, or when I hit my peak, I guess, like with map design for the coin collection, because there's just so many cool little references and hidden features and stuff. And you kind of start out up here, then there's this train that you go over, a bunch of bones, you know, a floating air balloon, and everything kind of came together in both a micro detail with like smaller stuff, but also a larger detail with like the way that the terrain is designed and stuff. And one of the things that was super annoying about this was basically you had to use a bunch of mimic blocks to bring it over here, so that we would end up having terrain with texturing, because the game doesn't normally do that. Anyway, you go into this giant worm's mouth, and you know, there's lava to deal with because we didn't have acid in the game. And then it ends up going into this little cave system, and I don't know, there's just all these little details and kind of a little story being played out here that I just really enjoyed this map a lot. I was very, very happy with it. And then Mark just kind of kept on building. So he ended up designing this right here, which is a coin collection challenge. And a lot of his coin maps ended up getting in the rotation, which was really, really cool. He ended up making this one, which I think might still be in rotation. This was kind of a homage to Team Pixel that he made. And then over here was an ice biome themed one. This one I've seen in rotation, and I hate it just because it's slippery ice. And then he's got a lava one over here, which I don't remember if this ever ended up making it in. No, it did. This, I don't know if we can go inside. I don't think it works. But over here, we've got another target practice that he was working on. But target practice never got added to the game because it required it required them to overhaul the code to how projectiles would work, and the devs never got around to that. So Yeah. Then there's a Pikmin reference. I don't know who made this, and I don't know if it does anything. I don't know Pikmin. And then over here, I was working on a Mario Sunshine map, and every now and then I chip away at this project. But it's a big project, just especially for someone to try and take on solo. And I was designing this with the intent of having it as a coin game slash PvP, because I like how open it is, and you know, just I still have to add like lots of different buildings. And the big thing that I always like in my maps is a lot of verticality. So I was gonna end up making all of this wiring that goes across the whole map, and so on and so forth. Now, if we keep going into the green portal, we can actually see some other areas that are so far out it doesn't render where they are. This was a Halloween themed hub area that Mark ended up building, which I think is awesome. We use this sometimes because we would usually end up like swapping, you know, the hub area during the various times of the season. But again, it just never really stuck, you know, because people would end up getting really confused, and not to mention the fact that the game just keeps adding crafting tables, which is the worst aspect of the game. And so it would just be like, okay, well then we have to like basically craft like 10 times the amount of crafting tables to fit them into all these different hub areas. And it was just like, yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, and then I think we're basically here outside of, I know there's like a candy area that I wanted to end up exploring. I think it's to the north. Yeah, just over here. I don't know why I wanted to come here. Probably because this is one of my favorite like candy themed builds, I guess. I haven't really seen much else above that. Oh, and it's actually over here by this arena. All right, well, anyway, now let's respawn and let's get into the current hub and biome. So this hub club spot is basically one of the dungeons in Forbidden Spires, and I just felt like so inspired not only by that build but also just by the biome itself, because it really reminds me of Dragon Ball with all the, you know, big tall mountainous structures and stuff. And again, as I've referenced many times throughout this video, verticality is something that's really important to me with like builds and stuff. And it just, this view right here, I absolutely love it. I was trying to fill it out a little bit with these floating islands, and we'll get into that in a bit, but generally speaking, yeah, that kind of, I shouldn't have started building that project, but whatever. So there are so many little details and references in here. Like you can go in here and you can go into a big extensive sewer area. It's just, this is kind of like where I just started going crazy with the building. Merc helped me with a lot of this stuff too, and I know other people ended up helping, but I'm sorry if I don't shout them out appropriately. We've got, you know, some enough changes in this area to the actual dungeon, because the dungeon normally has like a house in the middle. You guys might remember on my Ronin Craft series, that was me playing through a Minecraft server with some friends. The last big project I did on that server before I quit was I made this hub in Minecraft. I will never do that again because, my God, it took so long because of stupid quartz. Over here used to be our portal area, you know, back when we had to have all of these. Yeah. And then over here we've got kind of a nice little dance area. I just wanted to have a lot of that verticality and, you know, again, have something over top to make it feel like, yeah, like a dance area. So there's lots of little jokes and references and whatever else. Let's start heading south to one of my favorite spots in the entire club world. First of all, there's all these mines and nice little details here. Basically, we tried to make this area feel like very lived in, like the whole of the area. Some areas are not as detailed as others, but yeah, anyway, over here we've got like something that Merc ended up making, this little tranquil garden, some stairs that go, where are the stairs? I think is it out back? Yeah, that goes like way down. I forget what's down there. But right over here is my favorite view in the club world when things are all rendered in. It just looks so freaking cool. And then over here, you know, some little hermit guy is living up there. And then if we end up going over here, there's all these different trees. I'm pretty sure either somebody, like, I think Mark just built like a crap ton of these at one point and ended up, he really wanted to make this swamp, right? And I think he made all these trees custom, which is kind of atrocious when you think about it. Unfortunately, I kind of started to experiment with certain builds and junk around here. I don't remember where they are. Maybe I removed them. But a weird project that me and Merc were doing was we thought it would be kind of cool to add like these elemental towers. And so this is kind of the fire one where it's a little bit of a parkour challenge to go through the whole thing with 2 jump. Then we've got the water one over here, which is very tranquil on the inside. I really, really enjoy it. And then coming over a little bit behind the club, Merc ended up making this little shanty town, which again, lots of nice little references. Loved his build style, man. Like, it's just, yeah. Pinata pit, where we throw down our Shadow Tower stuff, and then a Pinzo voting thing, just because I needed a spot to show these off. I don't know why this is here, but at least it's funny enough that we just kind of left it rather than taking it down for the sake of aesthetics. You know what I mean? Because that was the big thing that I really wanted to do within this area, was have things a lot more controlled with how things were being built out versus the old hub that was just kind of a mess of years and years and years and years of stuff. Over here, we've got the kind of little hot spring, which I really enjoy. It doesn't have the vertical blocks don't work anymore because these used to have like kind of bubbles come out and it looked like steam particles, and then they changed the way that it looks, so it's these little strands that show up every now and then. Not as impressive, whatever. Over here is where we've got all of the fixture related stuff. So we got all the fixtures, but we also ironed it out and made it kind of look a little bit more impressive. I don't know why one day this moved or got like maybe we upgraded it without wanting to upgrade it, or I think frankly speaking the devs might have like changed the way that this thing looked, because you can see there's like a bunch of other stuff that used to be appropriately on it. Like we kind of ended up making these funny because it was just like, otherwise there was no character to it. Then Merc ended up making like a sumo arena, and then we've got kind of, you know, the little town, whatever. Merchant shops and whatever else. I got the sword from Mario RPG because I love Mario RPG. No, nobody did this. Everyone's too busy with Path of Exile, so no one's summoning them anymore. And then over here, so this was when Mario RPG Remake came out, I felt so inspired to build like floating islands. And more importantly, I wanted to build a cloud city. You can see I got really lazy with the clouds. Most of all, I was trying to adjust and sort out the verticality of it all. And yeah, it's cool, but again, I kind of abandoned that one, not realizing how burnt out I was on building. I did kind of start building like crazy for a little bit there, but generally speaking, I stopped. And then I think for the most part, that's it. Outside of down here, we've got kind of our fish trophy area. So Joe's most of all been filling this out. I mean, I don't think he plays Trove or any games anymore nowadays, so I don't know if he's actually like actively doing that. I know I sure ain't. And otherwise, the rest is kind of history. So, old logo here. I don't know if I'm ever going to update it just because my new logo is way too complex for the pixel art. Right now, you know, the reason I have my logo as Majora's Mask is because I have a huge Zelda tattoo on my back. Majora's Mask is one of my most like favorite Zelda games, most of all for the atmosphere. The game itself kind of bleh. And then the samurai helmet is just something that evolved over time because I'm pretty obsessed with Japan. And in particular with that period, which is why I'm so excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ghost of Yotei, and all this other stuff coming out later in the year. That was surprisingly quick. I honestly thought this video would be like a couple hours long, but we were able to get through it pretty quickly. Again, because I didn't go into every little bit of detail as I usually do in these types of videos, but it has been a few years, so I think that I've gotten a lot better at getting to the point. And there's a lot of things as well that I'm expecting you guys to kind of explore yourselves. You know, like, oh, there's a sewer here. Now you know it's there. But I don't feel the need to go in depth with showing every little detail like that. Our club world is at almost 50K props. That's cool. And again, there's not much reason for me to refer to the other club worlds like Team Pixel 2, 3, 4 and all that stuff. I could probably do like Club World tours of those as their own independent videos, but at the same time, if I'm being perfectly honest, those clubs are dead and they've been dead for a very, very long time. Every now and then you'll catch me revisiting them and going down on a nostalgia trip on stream and stuff like that. And I do want to end up doing stuff like that where we explore club worlds again. But there's not really that many active club worlds since they added the stupid fixtures to the club, because they kind of made clubs way too expensive and made it so that players ideally want to join an already established club so that they can get the benefits of the buffs. And that ended up killing so many small clubs. It was a terrible update overall. Like the fixtures and everything is kind of neat as a theory concept, but yeah, it had huge ramifications, very negative on the community. But with all of that said, thanks for watching. Here's to another 10 years on this game. Hopefully they don't end up turning it offline. And you know, if you want more similar videos like this, I would recommend like my Game of the Year video and just branch out on my Trove content. I know that a lot of people still watch my Trove content, and that's what my channel is mostly established for. But I do still put the same amount of effort and, if not more work, into my other videos. And I've got a lot of other content planned for the year that I'm going to go over with you guys. The big New Year resolution for me that I kind of have talked about in a couple videos is that I'm dialing things back a little bit. I need to get a better rhythm with my content so that I'm not always just hounding and rushing to upload a video for the day. And this way it allows me to make these videos better because it allows them to cook for a bit, and more particularly allows my brain to actually chill down enough that I can focus on what I want to do next and focus on new projects and stuff. Because otherwise the normal rat race of YouTube is go, and it doesn't give me any time to think. Anyways, I want to share my appreciation for those of you that have stuck around with the channel for all these years. For those of you that have become members of the channel and supported the channel in your own small way, it seriously means the world to me that I can do YouTube full time. Granted, most of that is still doing Trove full time, and I'm happy with that. But so help me, my frustration with YouTube is the YouTube side of things only. I want to be clear about this because I've talked about this extensively during live streams and such, and I in no way am frustrated with you guys for not watching my other videos and stuff. It's just the fact that YouTube doesn't tell you guys about my other videos because the algorithm is stupid. But anyways, I don't mean to prattle on. I just thought that if there was any time that I would talk about these things, it would be in this type of a video. So with that said, I would appreciate if you would like, subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff, and have yourselves a happy new year and a wonderful day.